welcome to another podcast of Lights, L Camera Action. And it's your boy LCameraTV. And I gotta talk to y'all, man. I gotta talk to y'all about something very serious. Now, everybody's, I'm assuming, heard about the George Floyd situation, him being murdered. And my mindset is police brutality has to stop. We all know this. And I think we're on a very good path, and I think black people, as well as every other race, is doing the right thing by all coming together and protesting. I don't think it should stop anytime soon. I think we're finally gonna get some resolution and progress through this whole protest and everything that we're doing. And I don't want it to stop, to be honest with you. I hear people talking about, oh, but you guys shouldn't be looting. But my mindset is, these are people getting out their frustrations. These are people fed up. And when someone's fed up, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm angry, I've been known to punch holes in walls, to be honest with you. Like, that's something I had to get over. But when I was angry, I used to just punch holes in walls because I didn't know how else to handle my frustration. And it took me a while to, actually come to grips and be like, okay, I'm upset. How do I handle my anger? How do I, channel it into something positive instead of negative, like, punching holes in walls and doing things of that nature. So now you're telling people that watch George Floyd, Philando Castile, Tamir Rice, all these black men, women, kids, children, constantly dying for things that, like, just regular things. Just, Philando Castile was just sitting in his car. He told the officer he had, a licensed firearm. He told him he's reaching for, his license and registration or whatever, and he gets shot. George Floyd saying, I can't breathe, calling for his mother, doing all these things, and he still gets murdered. Like, people are fed up. People are tired of this. And at the end of the day, you can't tell people how to vent their frustration. You can't tell people how to be upset. You just gotta accept the way they express it, and hopefully at some point we can be constructive with the anger, and find a way to use it in a positive light. And at this point in time, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't know how to fix this, but I can say that police brutality comes from a sense of power. I think these police officers feel like they're above the law, and that is a issue with the whole police force, not just some police officers. And I hear some people say, oh yeah, police officers, there's some police officers that are good cops, and this, that, and the third. And my mindset is, if you're a good cop, call out the bad cops. And for years that hasn't been happening, and I think it will start happening. I think, like I said, I think that's why I want these protests to continue. That's why I want all these things to continue, these looting and all that stuff. I want it to continue. Don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning looting, but I feel like this is the first time I actually see progress. Now, some people say go out and vote. Some people say, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I have the answers, because I don't. But this is just my mindset on the situation. And with this whole police brutality and just in general, I think America is literally gonna have a drastic change. And I hope it does. I hope a lot of things change in America. I hope, you don't get turned away for a job because your name doesn't sound like a traditional, Caucasian name. I hope, like, I have brothers, parents, friends, cousins that are all black men and women, and I have a son that's a black man, or gonna be a black man. And obviously he's not old enough yet for me to have this conversation with him, but at the end of the day, at some point I'm gonna have this conversation with him. And I hope, by the time he's, old enough to drive and doing all these things, he's actually, not have to worry about this. But let's be honest. I mean, I see change. I think change is on the horizon if we continue what we're doing and we don't just accept that, oh yeah, you know, we outraged for 10 days, we outraged for this. It has to be a constant outrage. And I hear, you know, certain people saying we need politicians and we need this and we need that. But my question is, you know, when Obama was in office, things like this were still happening. Now, obviously, some people say, okay, you know, not just on the highest level, you need mayors, you need senators, you need House of Representatives, you need all these other levels of politics. But my mindset is, can we really say that's going to change what's going on? Can we really say that if these are the things, if we do, you know, elect these politicians and all these people, can they not be corrupted? Because my mindset is, it's one thing to elect somebody. It's one thing to get somebody in. But how do you operate in a corrupt system? Because in my mindset is, you could get, it's like saying, I take a clean apple and I throw it on the ground. Is the apple gonna make, you know, or if I take a sponge and I throw it on the ground, is the sponge gonna clean the dirt or is the dirt gonna dirty the sponge? More likely, because there's more dirt than sponge, the sponge is gonna get dirty. The sponge can't clean the dirt in that sense. And that's how I feel. Like, you can take the most upstanding guy, but if you put him in a system that's corrupt and evil and, you know, there's so many loopholes and so many ways that, you know, they're trying to benefit certain people, how can you change that system? I mean, like I said, this is the first time I've seen, you know, police being seriously held accountable. You know, seriously, like, yes, these officers got charged, and that's a positive. But okay, you know, Amber Geiger got charged, but she got 10 years for murder. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, she got charged. Yes, she's in prison, but did she get, like, if I murdered somebody, would I get 10 years in prison? No, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't. So the question is, okay, yeah, they might get charged, but how much time are they gonna get? And this is why we have to keep up these protests and keep on, you know, saying this path that we're going, because I think this is the path that's gonna lead to change. And my question is, you know, I see all these NFL players, you know, the NFL is basically trying to make it seem like, oh, they're not, you know what I'm saying, they support the black community and all that stuff like that. But you guys were the key factors in keeping Colin Kaepernick out. You guys made it seem like he wasn't good enough, or he wasn't this and he wasn't that. And you said everything you needed to say to make sure he was not in your league anymore. You guys even said he's gonna hurt your bottom line, which was obviously a lie. So it's like, how are you trying to jump on the opposite side now? I mean, let's be honest. There's not even black ownership in the NFL. And how can you preach change if there's no black ownership? There's barely, I mean, I think there's 3 black head coaches, and I think it's 4 minority, you know, coaches in total. You got people like Eric Bieniemy who didn't even get a head coaching job and he was an offensive coordinator for a Super Bowl winning team. There's so many avenues and so many aspects of sports and just society where they see him and be like, oh, well, we're not part of the problem. I seen Bank of America saying, oh, we support. But I don't really believe these corporations. I'm just being honest with you guys. I don't really believe them, because any PR team will tell you to get on the right side of this. And because of all the looting and all the protesting, any corporation is going to say the right things because they have a PR team to tell them, hey, don't say this, get on this side. But just like the Jake Fromm situation, the truth is when you're in private, not in public. That's just being honest. But I do see a lot of change. I do see a lot of growth. I see a lot of, you know what I'm saying, of all races coming out and supporting. And that's what we need. When the other races are just as outraged as the black community, that's when change happens. So to me, this whole George Floyd situation, you know, I feel sorry for George Floyd. I wish this wouldn't happen. And as a black man, you always think about this. I mean, I remember one time, you know, when I had dreads, I used to get pulled over all the time, and I used to get questions like, "Oh, do you have any drugs in the car?" I'd be like, "No." "Are you sure you don't have any drugs in the car?" I remember when I was 16, I live in, you know, South Florida, and I was going to Coral Springs. And, you know, me and my brothers and a friend of mine got pulled over, and we got pulled over by an unmarked car. Wasn't a regular police car. We got pulled over, and then 4 police officers came out with bulletproof vests and everything like that. And I'm 16. This is the first time any kind of situation like this happened to me. So I'm shocked. I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. So 4 cops get on each window, and they tell everybody in the car to show identification. And I'm like, okay. I mean, usually I'm thinking, well, if the driver did something wrong, shouldn't he show identification? But everybody in the car had to show identification. So I take out, you know, I'm 16. I got a state ID. I give him my ID to the officer, and I'm sitting there, and you know, I'm 16, I'm young, I've never been in a situation, and they told my brother that the reason why we was getting pulled over is because our tents were too dark. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when you have tents on a car and they've been on a car for a while and they've been beaten down by the sun, they start turning purple. So they're no longer black. You can start seeing through them, they turn purple. Well, this happened, the car we was in, that was kind of tense. The tent started turning purple because of the sun that was beating on it. So I'm sitting there, 16, I got my hands on my lap, and I'll never forget this. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost 30, and I will never forget this. I'm sitting there at 16 years old, and you know, my hands are on my lap, and I move my hands slightly. Just slightly. You know, wasn't even paying attention. I didn't even notice it. I just moved my hands slightly. And the female cop that was in front of my window see me move my hand slightly, and she goes to reach for her gun. So, and I'm like, I'm shocked. I'm like, obviously I don't want to die. I don't want to get shot. Like, I don't want to get tased. I never, you know what I'm saying? I haven't been tased. This is my first encounter with, you know, police officers like this. And then they was asking us, oh, what we're doing in this part of town. And it was like, we're just going to the mall. And they was just, the way they was acting like we was criminals. So the sad thing about it is they let us go because obviously we didn't do anything wrong, didn't get any ticket, nothing. We go into the mall, and I'm upset. You know, me and my other brother are upset. And my oldest brother is sitting there, and he's laughing. You know, my friend is laughing, and I'm like, why are you guys? This is not funny. This is wrong. And I'm like, they told me, you guys are young. You're gonna get used to it. And I was like, how can you get used to this? Like, you know what I'm saying? I was thinking in my mind at 16, how could I get used to this? Like, but as I got older, I realized that they were right. You do get used to, you know what I'm saying, realizing that you're going to get stopped for nothing. You do get used to realizing that, hey, you know, you got to be extra careful because at any point, something can go wrong and they can tase you or arrest you or whatever. And it was just like, and I guess because it happened to them so often, that they just got used to it. Just like being followed in the store, you get used to it because it just happens constantly. Every time I went into the Sony store, I got followed. It didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter, like, as soon as we walked in to the moment we walked out, we got followed. And these are things that constantly happen as a black man, and these are things that I'm gonna tell my son about because obviously these things are probably gonna happen to him. But it's something that, as a black man in America, you realize that the way you have to operate, you have to be on guard at all times. Because at any point, things can go left. At any point, somebody can, you know, say you stole something. At any point, somebody can call the police on you, and you don't know if you're gonna live or die after that. Like, it's a sad way to live. It really is. Like, we as black men are always scared. I don't know about everybody, but for me, I'm always like, hey man, at any point, stuff can go left. So for me, I feel like with these protests and with this looting and with all this stuff that's going on, I actually see some kind of change. I actually see what it is. But like, there is change, but the difference is that how many people are like Jake Fromm? How many people really feel that only elite whites should own guns? How many people are actually like Drew Brees that feels like, hey, you know, we're not gonna let you disrespect the flag, even though kneeling had nothing to do with the flag? How many people are actually like these people? Because yes, Jake Fromm, you know, got dragged because he's a football player, and Drew Brees got dragged because he's a football player. But there's other people that feel this way, and some people that are on the police force that feel this way. There's video of a police officer just grabbing a random girl and throwing her on the ground during a protest. Why did he feel entitled? Why did he feel, why did he feel like he had the right to do that? And how many other people feel this way? Because let's be honest, guys, because everybody sees how the landslide is going, how everybody's reacting to this, everybody's gonna say and do the right things. They're gonna try to get on the right side of this. But like I said, it's not what you do in public, it's what you do in private. And it's not what you do when, you know, tensions are highest. It's what you do on an everyday basis. So yeah, you know, obviously there are gonna be cops that are kneeling that probably don't feel that way. There are gonna be cops that are saying, hey, I'm with you and I agree with what you're saying. But in actuality, no, in their closet they got a lot of skeletons. So I beseech every black male, female, kid, everybody, protesters, people of other races, be careful. But especially the black people, be careful. Because everybody, I've seen some, you know, white people that are spray painting and doing things that are unnecessary because they're trying to incite something. But like I said, I think this time a lot of people are getting exposed, and I love it. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that feel a certain way or think a certain way that is not healthy for our country to move forward, or just in general. And these police force that are doing this, you know, crazy and horrible stuff, hopefully they get rooted out. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not holding my breath. And my observation, one of the observations I was thinking about is, you know, me living in Florida, I see, you know, reservations and I see Native Americans. And when I was, you know, I was like, okay, I thought they were policed by the same people, but the Native Americans have their own police force. And I'm thinking, maybe that might be the case. Maybe that might be the route. I don't know. But I think if black people police their own people, people will be slow to grab a gun. But when you get people from another community, another area, to police, you know what I'm saying, another community, another area that's not like them, they never grew up with people like them, they never seen people like them, or they just, you know, seen them in, you know, in passing, of course they might be afraid and then react, you know, incorrectly. Maybe it's time, like, I mean, I think about Black Wall Street, I think about all these, you know, Blacktown, you know, all these places, and when black people integrated, I feel like they didn't integrate evenly. You know, we lost the businesses that we had. Like Black Wall Street, you look at it, and, you know, those black lawyers, black doctors, all these black, you know, businesses. And now, like, even though we have black businesses, they're not being supported like that. So it's just, I just think about what is the best course of action? Where can we go from here? I think it's a very positive direction we're going, but I just hope we can get some answers sooner or later, man. Because for me, this whole situation is crazy. It's definitely crazy, but it's worth it. It's needed. And anybody who says, "Hey, man, you know, you could be upset, but don't do this. You can be mad, but don't do this. You can protest, but don't do this." If it was your family member, how would you react? If it was somebody, and people are like, "Oh, well, you don't even know George Floyd. Why are you reacting this way?" Because at any point in time, it can be a family member. And that's what people don't understand. Like when I hear people saying, "Oh, well, you got like," it was some guy who was sitting here saying, "Oh, I watched it on Preaching Abbott. They was talking about, you know, they was reviewing some creator or whatever, and he was talking about, oh, well, you guys don't even know George Floyd or whatever. And it's like, you think it matters if you know somebody? You think you should only be outraged if you know somebody that got murdered? Or you should be outraged if somebody got murdered in general? That doesn't make any sense. We should always be outraged. A black man died for nothing. A life was snuffed out. And at any point, yes, George Floyd may not be, you know, my biological brother, but at any time, it can be one of my family members. It could be a sister, it could be a brother, it could be a dad, it could be a mom, it could be a child. So if you're not outraged for George Floyd, why wouldn't you be? So what, you gonna reserve your outrage for when it's a family member? Okay, let's say it is one of your family members. Then would you want other people to be outraged too? You see, when people say ignorant comments like that, it blows my mind. A life was snuffed out. That's why it shouldn't just be a black issue. It should be a humanity issue. It should be an everyone issue. It should be a social issue. Because at the end of the day, a life was snuffed out. Whether George Floyd was white, black, green, purple, it doesn't matter. The man died for nothing. And the person that has knee on his neck, I mean, come on, guys. He sat there for like 8 minutes. I think it was like 8 or 9 minutes with his knee on this man's neck, with no remorse, with no. Oh, I feel bad. Like he was like, I want this guy to die. He is a murderer, and he deserves whatever he gets. He probably deserves worse than actually what he gets. But let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? He probably doesn't get as much time. I mean, be honest with you, that in itself might start another uproar. But at the end of the day, black people, be safe. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm happy about this situation because we see a lot of people like Trina coming out, and all these people are just like Doja Cat. All these people that, you know, are black, but in actuality don't even care for their black people. It's just this time is exposed. I'm happy because everybody's getting exposed. All these people with these hidden agendas or these hidden feelings are getting exposed. But my mindset is, where else is 2020 gonna go? 2020 has been hectic from beginning to end. We had the pandemic, coronavirus. Now we got these protests. What else is gonna happen? But at the end of the day, my black people, stay safe. Stay safe, be aware, be conscious. Be conscious even at the protests because they're gonna incite things. And be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if martial law gets, you know, enacted sooner or later. Because I don't believe they're gonna allow this to continue. That's me being honest. And I don't have the answers, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I do. But one thing I do know is we have to find a way to make this stop. I don't know if it's separating. I don't know if it's, you know, legislation. I don't know if it's politics. I don't know what can we do to get, you know, the results that we want. I would never sit here and be like I have the answers, because I don't. But I do wish that, you know, this protest and everything continues until we actually get some real resolution, until we actually get some real concrete, you know, evidence or proof that things are going to change. And everybody's saying turn the other cheek and nonviolence and all that stuff like that, but I can't sit here and tell people that have dealt with, you know, slavery and, you know, past, you know, of slavery and you know, prejudice and all these things that going on with black people, to be like, hey man, calm down. Let's do this another way. You can't tell them people that. They don't want to hear that. They don't deserve to hear that. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I just told y'all one of the stories that I went through. I'm pretty sure every black person on my channel or just in general could probably tell you one or two stories of something that happened in their town or their city or like. So don't tell people how to act and don't tell people how to react, because at the end of the day, when Amber Geiger was murdered, you know what I'm saying, when Philando Castile got murdered, when all these things were happening, like where were these people that are telling them don't react this way, don't react that way? Before you know, I'm speechless, man. I feel like this thing is so. It's so sad, man. It's so sad that black people have to go to these lengths just to get people to hear them, just to get people to understand. And that's the thing, like, black people have to go to enormous lengths just to get people to understand, just to hear them and be like, hey, I finally see what you're saying. Countless people had to die just for them to get like, hey, man, mate, you might have a point there. And that's the saddest part about it, man. So I just want to give out my take on the George Floyd thing. Salute to George Floyd and his family. And you know what I'm saying, I heard, you know, obviously it was a beautiful service. You know, condolences go out to, you know, George Floyd's family. You know, obviously George Floyd, rest in peace, man. And I just hope those police officers get whatever. I hope they get worse than what they deserve, personally. I hope they make an example out of them. I hope they throw them under the jail, because all of them are culpable. All of them. And for my black people out there, just be careful, man. Be careful and be safe. Because at the end of the day, I understand. Like, I don't know about, you know, everybody else, but for me, when a police officer comes, man, I make sure I have my license and registration and everything, because I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to move, because you never know, bro. It is petrifying, because you never know. You never know how something's gonna turn out. Every time, like, I don't know about other people, but every time you hear a police siren, you never know how it's gonna go. Like, I think, man, you know, hopefully I won't be, you know what I'm saying, one of these people that died in a police situation or altercation at a traffic stop or something for no reason. I mean, we got videos of police officers planting weed and just having people get out their cars and search them. Like, all the officer has to say is, I smell weed. He doesn't need no proof or anything, because of probable cause. So he says he smells weed in your car, he takes you out the car, he plants something, and then you get a charge. It's petrifying. And that's why I'm so happy that these protests are going on, because it's time for us to stand up, man. It's time for us to, you know, have our voices heard. And we've tried multiple times, but this is, like I said, it seems like something's really gonna change. So we just gotta keep at it. We gotta keep pushing. We gotta keep on it. Because if we stop now, I think we're gonna miss a great opportunity to actually get some real change in the police force, in, you know what I'm saying, our government, in a lot of places. That's all I had to say to y'all, man. I just wanna, you know, give y'all my take on this George Floyd, man, situation. This is obviously my podcast, Lights, Camera, Action. Tell me what y'all think. Get in the comment section, man. Also, it's gonna be on Spotify, the, you know, audio version. You know, all the black people on my channel, on my YouTube channel, because I'm posting this on my YouTube channel also. Get in the comment section, man, and put some of your stories up, man. You know, I told y'all my story, one of my stories. Obviously, like I said, this, you know, you always have stories. And I'm not saying, you know, I have to say all cops are bad. I have to. You know, I was just about to say, I'm not saying all cops are bad, but when a good cop sees a bad cop doing something bad and it doesn't stop them, they're culpable. They're just as bad. If I'm, you know what I'm saying, like, they're just as bad. So I can't sit here and say all cops aren't bad, because at the end of the day, you mean to tell me you don't know one person on your force that did some racial things or some police brutality things at all? Come on, man. I'm not that naive. So yeah, all the black people on my channel, put one of your stories, anything, man. Just let me know, you know what I'm saying? I know obviously we all have stories. So just put one of your stories, man. Obviously, I'm gonna be reading them. I'm gonna be, getting in your comments, whatever, and supporting y'all and rocking with y'all, man. So get in the comment section, man. Let me know some of your stories that took place with y'all, man. And thanks for obviously watching the podcast on my YouTube channel, and obviously the podcast is gonna be on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever podcasts are found. Check it out, man. And let me know if you like this type of content so I can do more of it, man. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you share this podcast wherever podcasts are found. And I'm gonna see y'all next time. Peace.